A Week to Remember Charlie, Part 7.
So I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd and...
It is against God. That is
So let me ask
Are
you
you
a
a
question.
Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy, yes or no? No, do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, then you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
Amen. Yes, thank you, Charlie. This is one of the things that I wish more Christians would say. To be more like Christ is not to immediately condemn people. To be more like Christ is to be able to have discussions with different people and be able to explain to them what the love of Christ is. There are so many Christians out there who say they're being loving, but it's really just an excuse for them to judge other people. On the other hand, there are so many Christians out there afraid to offend people, so they don't actually speak up the real truths of the Bible. And Christians need to be able to find this happy medium of understanding that people are able to live their lives. People can choose to live a certain way, and that is what they choose for their life. That is where sin nature leads them. That is where being a part of the secular world leads them. However, it does become a different conversation if and when they decide they want to come to Christ. I think the best biblical example of this is the rich young ruler. The rich young ruler came to Jesus and said, "What must I do to be saved?" Jesus responded to him, "Sell all of your possessions and follow me." But instead of following Jesus, the rich young ruler walked away sad because he couldn't give up that life to follow Jesus. That, I think, is the perfect example of how we should be as Christians. Of course it is the perfect example because it's an example of Jesus. But what I'm saying is when we approach sin nature and people wanting to be able to follow after God, people are allowed to live their lifestyle however they want. I don't care how you want to live your lifestyle as long as you're not harming other people. But when it comes to following Jesus, you have to be willing to take up your cross and follow him. So like Charlie said, he doesn't care how you want to live your life, but of course, his hope and mine as well is that you would be willing to give up your life to take up your cross and follow Jesus.